everyone. We are the West Seattle counselors and starting a presentation for you all about registration for your students for next year. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. That's what we will be monitoring. So we're just going to kind of walk through the PowerPoint that we gave to our 8th graders yesterday. Students at Boren STEM will get this presentation next week on Wednesday, but for everyone else, this presentation has already been delivered to all other SPS middle schools in our region. So, we're using the exact same PowerPoint that the students got, which did have some discussion questions because we had student leaders with us. So we're just kind of walking this through with you guys. And then if you have any questions, obviously, just please put them in the Q&A. So I'm going to skip over some of these because they're more about the 8th grade transition and getting themselves ready. But obviously that is a very, strong wills were prevailing in this question about who had the cutest pet with very loud opinions on this one. So what we went over with students yesterday was our registration timeline, and this is for all of our students. So they were given their paper sheet and the registration. We walked them through the source for how to choose classes. And they have until next with Thursday actually to turn in their paper sheets, and they should all go to their advisory teachers next Thursday.
And that's for Madison specific students.
Yeah, and the students at Denny.
Students at Denny and Pathfinder K8, we collected their paper sheets already when we went to visit them on Wednesday, excuse me. And then other students that are not attending.
Students at STEM will have a little bit longer to do. And the students at Denny and Pathfinder were asked to send parents a photo of their sheets so that if they had any questions, and we can certainly send them out if you email our counseling department, we can send them out more specifically. If you're like, well, what did they choose? I definitely didn't get them. So just a general tip about why we take registration seriously in terms of starting to make choices. High school is certainly a place where class choice really opens up, and so wanting to give students a lot of space in that world.
Absolutely. So when we talk to students, we always review graduation requirements, and also we talk through exactly what their 9th grade schedule will look like. So if we see the green boxes on the presentation, those green boxes are what they will be taking. Those are their core classes. So every student will be taking Intro to Lit, a language arts class, World History 1, Physics A, Chem A, and then a math class. And so a couple of things to note is with social studies or history, it's only one semester in their 9th grade year. So if a student is not enrolled in a history class their first semester of 9th grade, that is totally fine. That's totally normal. About half our students take it in the first semester and half our students will take it in the second semester. Math. So we see here that most students will be coming into 9th grade and be enrolled in Algebra 1, which is typical after Math 8 in 8th grade. Some students who are currently taking Algebra 1 as an 8th grader will take geometry, and there's a very few amount of students that are currently in geometry and they would be taking Algebra 2. Something to note is all the asterisks in those 3 green boxes where there's honors available. At West Seattle High School, we don't have separate honors courses in 9th grade. What we have instead is embedded honors options where students can indicate at the first day of school or early on in the semester that they would like to take the honors option. And so they will work with a small group of students throughout the year in order to do that higher level in-depth work that honors can offer. And students can opt into that early on in their semester. And then we have the 2 required electives of health and personal fitness.
And I do see in the chat that some of these parents that are with us today are students that are not current SPS students, and we'll walk you all through the website, but we just kind of want to generally walk you through what registration looks like. Okay, so these are just a sample of some of, not a sample, these are the electives that are available for next year. And we've divided them by category and if they're year long or not. So students can take concert band, orchestra, jazz band, or percussion for the full year. And then these are semester long classes. The longer descriptions of all of these can be found in our course catalog, but we want to just kind of walk you guys through all of the options for what a student can take, and you'll find the names for all of these on your student's registration sheet. So if you're like, well, that journalism class sure sounds interesting, definitely that course description can be found on our website. We are encouraging all of our students to take a world language next year. It's not a graduation requirement, but it is a college entry requirement. Many schools have increased that from 2 years up to 3. So, so that all students are able to be college ready. We're certainly encouraging all of our students to choose a world language for next year. And then what we did is we walked students through the source. So we have a couple scenarios if your student is a incoming 9th grader. For some schools that are already in algebra, and what they'll see available in the source is just algebra 1. And if you need to make any of those corrections, there's a Microsoft form that we'd like students to complete on our website. This is a QR code, but I'll show you the website shortly. As well, if your student wants to take band and a world language because they're trying to be college bound, that means they just won't take personal fitness next year. They'd still take all of those classes that Ms. Hadeen just walked through. And there's a form we'd like them to fill out for that. Students have completed the registration when they have a full load of 6 classes and 4 alternates. So this is really specifically like while we walk students through this. If they're a current SPS student, they'll see in their source this page. At the top of the page are the links to what we just discussed, the course catalog, the math change, and the world language change.
I think something important to notice about the screen as well is at the top in blue, it says WSHS Future Freshman. If your student opens the source page and it has a different school's name at the top, that means that they're not currently enrolled in West Seattle High School for next year and they're enrolled in a different high school. And that's something where you'd reach out to the admissions at the district level to indicate or try to understand where your student is attending in 9th grade.
Yeah, it's a good point to just make that we have no control over where students are enrolled at West Seattle. That's all done centrally at the district. So unfortunately, we're unable to answer any enrollment questions just because that's done centrally. Okay, so this is just a general tutorial of, again, if they're a current SPS student, you'll know they're done when they have a full 6 credit hours on there, and then they have their 4 requested alternates. So now I'm just going to pull up the website to give you guys more specific information about how to guide your student through this process, and where you would look if you had any questions. So just give me 1 second to get my screen in an okay place. This is our West Seattle website, our homepage. And you'll see if you want to attend, we have a multicultural night tonight. You would click on Resources and Counseling Center, and then click over to Registration. And we have this sort of subdivided for if you're an incoming SPS student or if you're an out-of-district student, or if you're an incoming SPS student, but you're just not a 9th grader. So for our 9th grade families, if you click on this, these are our specific dates. And then we have a cute video, just kind of introducing students to school and some tips that our students from last year gave. Yeah. This is instructions on how to complete the online portion. This is a sample of that option sheet if your student loses theirs. Miss Quigley and all the other school counselors do have a copy of them. So if they lose them, that should be available to them as well.
And there's a couple questions in the chat right now about if your student is attending a school, middle school that we haven't mentioned so far in this presentation. And if that's true for you, that's totally fine. This online resource is where we're directing you to go. So if your student does not attend Louis System Boren, Pathfinder, Denny, or Madison Middle School, we would definitely encourage you to go onto our website and check out this incoming SPS 9th grade.
So you would be an out-of-district student, and then you would register using this to submit your course request for us. A big question that comes up for us often is, if I do this now or if I do this later, as my student's not going to get their top choices. And we're not at a place yet to where we haven't run the schedule. So students aren't in a disadvantage filling out this form, so long as they're currently slated with us for next year. Okay, so I'm going to stay with incoming 9th graders and then switch more to the out-of-district process in a second here. This is where you'll also find the course catalog, the correction if your student is in an advanced math or if they want to take band in a world language next year. We also have a number of answers to questions that commonly come up right here for you, as well as down here, there's a ton. We have as well, if you kind of keep going through here, course descriptions for a bunch of our subject areas. Okay, so if you are a current or a student that will be with us next year, but you're not currently an SPS student, you would click on this out of district students tab, and you would be using this cute Microsoft form to fill this out. It is an adaptive form, so it kind of changes the selections based on what grade your student is, because there are different grade required classes for every grade level. And then we have these two orientations set up for you. So I know one of the things that's a challenge is you guys really want to have a one-on-one time with us, but unfortunately we are currently supporting over 420 students a piece. And so we have to really focus on our current students. But we do have these two times set aside to really like dig into whatever questions you might have. I know that it can feel a bit daunting to choose classes without having answers, but what we'll do is be there. We can have your transcripts available, make sure that everything is right, but it's really the elective classes that are the key, and changing a core class of like, you know, I'm coming from this district and we're not quite sure what the right science is. Just do your best and we can make that adjustment really easily. So those are those two dates that are available for us to have one-on-one time with families. And then obviously right now is a time to be able to get your questions answered. And then we have obviously in here a bunch of other course catalog, our graduation checklist, and then our option sheets for every grade level, which just kind of shows you the difference of electives that change depending on your grade level. So ninth graders have slightly more limited electives. Upperclassmen, anyone 10th grade and above, there are a few more electives that they're able to sign up for. Descriptions of those are in the course catalog, as well as they're all in this PowerPoint.
Should we talk about the email
Yes,
that was sent out?
go for it.
Okay, we sent out an email. So the district provides us with a list of students that are slated to attend Seattle Public Schools in the fall for West Seattle High School specifically. And so we reached out to y'all with a very in-depth email, sharing all of these links and providing a lot more information around registration in general. And so you should have received that email a couple days ago. And if you have not received that email, that is an indication that you have not been slated to attend, or your students not been slated to attend West Seattle High School yet. And I would reach out to enrollment at the district level if you have not received that email.
Yeah, and sorry, hi, these are our faces. I'm Christine Edders and this is Kinsey Dean. Okay, so we are monitoring the chat for other questions that come in. Okay.
There's only 2 questions so far. Okay,
This is from my children offered in the session.
great. Okay, feel free to ask any more questions in the chat.
Okay, I do see a question from a family coming from Florida. What I would recommend doing is just going with a grade level science. And then when you come to the orientation in August or September, we can kind of talk that through. The biggest decision to kind of make is when you're coming from an out of district, it gets coded from an outside perspective, if they graduate with us, as an out of district science. So obviously, it's not the best idea to have students repeat a class they've already taken, but we also have to kind of manage that with wanting them to be with their grade level. So we can make choices, and either of those we can make a switch for that in the fall that won't impact their student schedule. The way SPS has done their science articulation is kind of bonkers. It's the first semester of chemistry and the first semester of physics in 9th grade because it aligns to Algebra 1. The full year of biology in 10th grade, and then the second semester of chemistry and physics in 11th grade because it aligns to Algebra 2. So given that it can be kind of funky coming into our school district, but we can make the best determination when we meet in the fall.
I'm seeing a question I responded to as well in the chat around PE credits. Students can receive credit for playing PE credits for playing sports in or outside of school. There are 3 required semesters of physical education at Seattle Public Schools, and so students can waive up to 2 of those credits with a sport or a medical waiver, meaning that they'll only have to take 1 PE class on campus. And so most students take PE in their 9th grade year to meet that 1 semester on campus requirement.
And take the PE competency
And
test.
take the PE competency test, which is required for the district.
And we will have tours available at those August and September orientations as well. We'll have students that will be walking our student leaders walking students around for the tour.
I'm seeing a question around advanced classes. I'm trying to parse out exactly what it's asking, but students in ninth grade can take the honors options in their current classes. When it comes to things like AP, advanced placement classes, those are something that students can access starting in their 10th grade year. But as far as advanced classes in the ninth grade, we're just using honors as the most advanced coursework that students can access at that point, unless they're in a math class that's ahead.
Yeah, if they've already taken a high school level
Yeah.
math class in middle school. Yeah.
Feel free to keep asking questions in the chat. It's super helpful and they're great questions.
Okay, well, you guys do that, or we're giving you a little bit of lag time to kind of get your questions typed up. I'll just kind of walk through some components of our counseling department. This is our presentation from curriculum. Can you double check that? I'm hoping this is like, okay, sorry, my computer doesn't show me the screen that you all see. So I'm going to let questions pop in and we can kind of take a pause. But just in general, just so you guys know, we run a comprehensive school counseling program, which means that we have delivery in tier 1, so towards classrooms and small groups, is kind of primarily how our counseling program supports students. So we meet with students one-on-one less. Obviously, we meet with students all day, but our main delivery methods are to be in classrooms, and we're in classrooms a couple weeks a month, so that students are able to get a lot of instruction from us. Just general information for you guys to know, and then you're going to bump me when we're going to pause for a question, is our graduation requirement. So this is true for any SPS school, that they need 4 credits of English, so 4 years of an English class or ELA, 3 credits of social studies, math, and science. They need 1 credit of art and CTE to graduate, a total of 2 credits in health and PE to graduate. So that's 3 semesters of PE, as Ms. Sedin just mentioned, and then 1 semester of health.
Okay, so
Jessica, would you answer that student's question?
Okay, so there's some questions.
Wait, before we finish, 7 elective credits, and then they need something called a personal pathway, which is the equivalent of the SBAC test, but then there's also other ways to do that. That's different than college entry requirements, which is the world language, which isn't a requirement here, but is something that colleges are requiring. All right, I'm ready to pause for a question.
Okay. I'm seeing that if it's an out of district school, do we need to provide a transcript?
Yes, we would love a DISP transcript. You can send it to our counseling inbox. We can post the inbox. It's WSHS, so West Seattle High School, counseling at seattleschools.org. It's on our website, as well as we'll post it in this chat shortly. If your student has a 504 or IEP incoming, you can go ahead and send that to us and we would just continue that. If you're asking to have your student to be evaluated, we certainly can do that. It does take a little bit of time because first we have to collect data and then have the review process. So that's something, if you were to let us know, we could let their teachers know and let our case managers know, but that wouldn't be something that couldn't be evaluated until next year.
We
don't have a test for math and science levels. We don't have like placement testing. If your district has like you should just send your transcript is the best first thing to do. If like you have an integrated name for the class or it's something different, then we can certainly send it over to us so that we can get our math and science departments involved to review syllabi to just take a look at what is the best equivalency for that class.
Question about, are we doing tours before orientation?
No, we're not doing tours before orientation. The first place for a tour is orientation.
We do an ice cream social event,
but that's after orientation. There is an ice cream social. It's typically the day before school starts, and there's tours then. But I don't think we have an official date for that yet for next year. All right, I'm just gonna not kill time, but give you more information as we give you guys more questions to pop in. I just wanting to walk through the themes that we do as a counseling department. In the fall, we're really focused on academic transition. So with ninth graders, we're in classrooms talking through like how to be a high schooler. With our juniors and seniors, we're starting to talk about colleges and financial aid, and sophomores, where we're talking about time management. In December and January, we kind of focus more on mental health. So we have suicide prevention for ninth graders. We have healthy relationships for 10th graders. For juniors and seniors, we talk about your self-care and what do we do in times when we're feeling really dysregulated. In February and March, we're focused more on choosing classes for next year. So thinking about the future and kind of making plans for that and thinking through whatever you need to do in terms of how to get to your long-term goals. And then April through May, we're focused a ton on next year and thinking about getting ourselves ready for next year and our next steps. So that for our seniors, that's about college, that transition. And for juniors, we spend a lot of time with them in terms of what to do over the summer so that they're prepped for their college journey. Okay, I'll take a pause again for questions.
Okay, so there's a question around workload in the high school. And also around laptops. Students will all receive their laptop at West High School, so they'll each have their own laptops. When it comes to the workload or like homework in ninth grade, it's really going to vary depending on course and teacher and and class. So there is absolutely homework at West Seattle High School. Whether your student will receive how much they'll receive, it really depends, and will definitely change over the course of time and over the course of their high school career. So there is a chance that they absolutely don't come home with homework, they complete it in class, and there's a chance that they're going to come home and have to do an hour of homework at night. One of the ways I think that there's sometimes a disconnect between parents and students around like what homework has to be done and how much there actually is. And one thing we always recommend is just checking the source, right? Students' grades and homework grades are posted pretty regularly on the source. So if a student is missing homework or saying that they don't have any homework, checking in on the source can always be a helpful tool when having that conversation with your student to kind of know what's expected or due in that class.
If your student is at a current SPS school, I would recommend having them talk to their counselor. We're in touch with the Chief South Counseling Department frequently. I reached out to them today. So they know us well and are able to help kind of navigate figuring out equivalency courses. I know obviously that's an IB school and we're an AP school, but they can help guide that. As well, I mean, really the biggest piece is electives. We can help support any core changes in math, science, English, or social studies next year when we meet them in the fall. I'm just going to share our caseloads, but they are going to change. So this is like our current caseloads, but this is all subject to change just because of the new students that are coming in. So Miss Wynn is at the start of the alpha. Miss Hadeen kind of follows along next to that. Miss Newman is sort of in the middle of the alpha, and then I'm at the end of the alpha, but here as well as our contact information, which can be found on our website as well. I'm going to also just show the West Seattle Counseling website, just so you guys have that as well. So where a bunch of these resources can be found. So if you're on the school's website, again, you just click on Resources and Counseling Center. All of our contact information is again over here, and then this is where you could find like a PE waiver, a grad checklist, or any of those pieces. If your student is an incoming senior, they could start working on their recommendation packet for next year. They do that. And then as well, we have academics. We have all of these are subcategories that have a bunch more information about it, our school as well. And then I'm leaning on you because for whatever reason, the chat isn't loading for me.
Maybe. Nothing too much, just more about advanced coursework access. And so at West High School, students in their 10th grade can start accessing AP classes. And then starting in their junior year, they can look at doing something called Running Start, which is where students go to the local two-year college and can take college courses there and get high school and college credit. So AP classes and college or dual enrollment can happen AP in 10th grade, and then the dual enrollment college classes can start as early as 11th grade. And that's kind of the access that ninth graders have to look forward to currently.
Yeah.
That is
This question. Yeah.
yeah.
And then as well, students can access Running Start their junior year. So if they wanted to go full-time as a college student, they could do that through our Running Start program. At any of the community colleges in the area. Most of our students go to South Seattle College, but it's open to all students, obviously.
See any more questions popping up? Oh, I do. Do they change clothing for PE and do they have a locker room? So
Yes and yes.
Yeah, they don't have to change into a full like PE outfit.
Yeah.
The biggest focus is just on safe footwear. So ideally, I think it's encouraged that students change into something that's like appropriate to exercise in. But the main baseline is that they're wearing like a closed-toed safe shoe in PE. There are locker rooms. Not all students choose to use them, but they are available for students. Each student has their own locker. Yes, so a student will be assigned a locker. And they're all over the building. And so in ninth grade, on the first day of school, we will have a orientation for them. And in that orientation, they will get access to a schedule, but they'll also get access to their locker. And then in their small groups for Link Crew, they will walk around and try to find their lockers, walk through how to open their locker, and that is where they can put all of their belongings. Great. Anything else? That's all the questions I'm seeing so far in this chat.
Any other questions about the high school transition or other questions you have about West Seattle? I'll also just kind of point out as well on our website, the club list. This obviously is subject to change because students drive our clubs, but we have a big list of clubs. So that's in student life and clubs. And we have, I think, over 50 clubs. So a student is able to create a club so long as they have one staff member and 2 other students that are interested in the club with them. As well, more than half of our students participate in athletics. So if that's something you're thinking about, it's a great way to kind of break the school down and meet a smaller group of people. This is the overview of kind of dates and if the sport is a cut sport or not. If you are thinking about a fall sport, you'll notice that some of these obviously start in August and tryouts start sooner. So it's good to kind of take a look at this so you get an idea of dates. Students can certainly try out now if they're going to be with us next year, and then they would go into this athletic registration page and then create a final forms account, which can take a bit of time, and it's a great place for parents to help out because students sometimes have a challenge navigating this website. So that's in student life and athletics and then clubs as well. I will also highlight our Link Crew program. All ninth graders walk through the ninth grade Link Crew program. And so that is a transition group where they kind of help celebrate that ninth grade transition. It's run by peers, upperclassmen who are facilitating small groups and activities. Our first day of school starts late, and the ninth graders are here in the morning going through all of those Link Crew activities. And for our new students that are 10 through 12th grade, we have a modified version of that our leadership students run for new students. They do a specific orientation from a student perspective and kind of walk them through their schedule, give them another tour of school before they actually get started here so that they feel more prepared to begin their day at West Seattle. And so far, so it looks like we've gotten a gap for questions. Okay, so unless any other questions pop up, I think we will take a pause.
Yeah.
Unless there's anything else you think I haven't covered.
No, I feel like you've done a great job.
I'm happy to maybe we could show them just a map of the school so that we have that as well.
Sure. We haven't talked about the Teen Health Center yet.
Sure.
Yeah. Something that West Seattle High School has, I think is pretty exceptional, is our Teen Health Center. Our school nurse is housed in the Teen Health Center, but in addition to her, we have we partner with Neighbor Care, and we have a nurse practitioner on campus. We also have licensed therapists on campus. And they're all housed in the Teen Health Center. So that is something that when you get that paperwork, when your student comes in as a ninth grader, there'll be some paperwork around, is our student able to access the Teen Health Center and see our nurse practitioner and our therapist? And that is something we encourage all students to have access to. It's a really great resource and it's very unique, I think.
And that is true for all SPS schools. So just kind of a general layout of our school. We've got sort of a wonky shape. I always think of it as kind of a weird crab, but if you think of McDonald's here and PCC here, this is the student parking lot and students come in through our courtyard. The school is sort of grouped by subject area, but only kind of sort of. This is sort of social studies and English, as is this whole area as well. Fine arts are down here, as well as our CTE classes. And then on the second floor is where you'll find all of math, social studies and English as well over here, and then all of science is over here. This is our, okay, so another thing for people to know is the primary platforms we use are Schoology and The Source. If you are on a district website, you can create a login for any of these, and that's how you'll track your students' grades and attendance. So on every single district website, they have the top of this, the header has this student family portal, and it's where it will log you into these things. For students, since they're one-to-one with a computer, as Missy Dean just mentioned, it will automatically log them into any of these websites. But for parents, this is the best place for you to access the source for you to be able to see a student's grades and their attendance. As well, on the West Seattle website, it has our attendance information. So if you need to excuse any attendance, that's where you would do that. I also think, just trying to think about lunches. So for a school, our lunch is an open campus lunch. It's about a half hour. And on the main page of our website, you can get information for how to add money to your student's account. Most of our students actually do go off campus for lunch or bring their own lunch, but there certainly is a hot lunch here on campus. Mm-hmm. And then a big thing I would recommend all families to do is to follow our West Seattle ASB account. So that's WSHSASB on Instagram, because it will have updates on like the ice cream social and all of the events that we have in the fall to just get students acclimated to school.
Can I sign up for school? Without, there's a question around being added to the newsletter.
If you want to get added to the newsletter, the best website is to just email the West Seattle website, and then they'll add you in. Which I thought was on here as like an obvious email, but I think it's just West Seattle High School. But I don't see it. You can email Ms. Huber, our school secretary, and she'd be able to add you to that. But I do know there's just a general email, but I'm just not seeing it on here. Yeah. Okay, so we have given you a lot of information. Hopefully it was a good start and introduction to West Seattle. We're certainly here to help support your students transition in and excited to meet them in the fall. I think we're going to wrap up unless there's other questions you think we need to answer. Oh, if they register for classes and then they need different classes, yeah, those changes would ideally happen before school starts, and that's something we work on. We stay late into the summer working on schedules, and we come back a little bit early to work on schedules to make sure we're all balanced and ready to go.
But when students are requesting their classes, it's really important to indicate classes that they actually want to take. I think in the first week of school, if students want to request a course change, we have a process that we do that, but it is absolutely not guaranteed. So if a student, when students are picking their classes, really be intentional around not only the electives that they've chosen, but also the electives they have as alternates. A lot of students come to West Seattle High School, and so not everyone's getting their first choice. And so it's really important that they're feeling excited about their alternate choices as well, because students aren't guaranteed a course or schedule change in what school has started. It's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
So think intentionally about it for sure.
Great. those were all wonderful questions. I'm about to cough, so I'm gonna mute us for a
Yeah.
second. Thank you so much for attending, and we are excited to have your student join us in the fall.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it. We're gonna end it now and have a wonderful weekend. I hope you enjoy the sun. Bye.